Day in the crypto world. In today's show, Bitcoin stays flat at $26,000. I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis. In breaking news, the Bitcoin supply on exchanges falls to a 5-year low, which ultimately means people are moving their crypto to self-custody. And quoting Max Keiser, Bitcoin was designed to kill the central banking system. Also in today's show, the SEC and Binance US to negotiate a deal avoiding a total asset freeze. We'll also be sharing SEC asking for more time to respond to Coinbase call for crypto clarity, as well as Ripple XRP calls for a probe into Bill Hinman and his infamous speech. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin renewable mining project tweaks El Salvador's bond proposal to raise $1 billion. And quoting Michael Saylor from yesterday's interview with Bloomberg, the public is beginning to realize that Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. The next logical step is for Bitcoin to 10x from here and then 10x again. And he goes on to share, regulatory clarity is going to drive Bitcoin adoption by eliminating the confusion and anxiety that has been holding back institutional investors. Bitcoin dominance will continue to grow as the crypto industry rationalizes around Bitcoin and goes mainstream. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. Welcome everyone just tuning in. This is pod episode number 1312. I am your host JV and today is June 14th, 2023. Checking out the market watch here. As you can see, the crypto market back in the green. Bitcoin up about 1% for the day, hovering at around that $26,000 mark. We have Ether up 0.5%, maintaining just above $1,700, while BNB is up almost 5%, trading at $245, with the biggest loser being XRP, just down 1%. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. The current crypto market cap sitting above that $1 trillion milestone with 22 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. And the Bitcoin dominance is 47.6%, with the Ether dominance at 19.8%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, we have Trust Wallet Token up 9%, trading at 79 cents, followed by Terra Classic up 7%, followed by Uniswap up 6%, trading at $4.49. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, looks like Luna Classic leading the pack, up 7.2%, with the biggest loser being Tomi, down 7.1%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, one of my favorite indicators, shows we're currently rated a 46 in fear. Yesterday was a 45, last week a 53, and last month a 50, which is neutral. So there you have it. How many of you took advantage of this recent dip? Let me know, BTFD, in the comments. Now, if you're just joining us, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to turn on all notifications to get notified each and every single day I go live here on the channel. And with that being shared, now let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis and check out the charts. Bitcoin stuck to 26,000 on June 14th as fresh U.S. macroeconomic data prints failed to move the crypto markets, which you can see here in the Bitcoin 1-hour candle chart. Data from Cointelegraph Market Support and Trading View showed Bitcoin staying stubborn as the PPI data showed U.S. inflation continuing to slow. Quoting Decent Trader, U.S. PPI just came in negative 0.3% versus 0.2% previously, and negative 0.1% was predicted, just like yesterday, was lower than the predictions, furthering the likelihood of a pause at tomorrow's FOMC meeting. Now, market commentators thus turn to the day's upcoming Fed Reserve decision on the interest rates, as well as subsequent comments from Chairman Jerome Powell for a source of inspiration. We shall see how this is likely to play out. Happy hawkish pause day, says TED Talks Macro, referencing major U.S. bank projections for the Fed to halt its rate hike cycle in place since late 2021. The latest data from the CME Group FedWatch tool continued to fall in line with the forecast, showing 92% odds of a rate hike pause at this time. And beyond the rate decision, U.S. dollar strength formed a topic of debate amongst Bitcoin analysts, Crypto Ed eyeing a potential bounce from support, which can cause problems for the King Crypto. Quoting him here, DXY reached the green box and bouncing a bit. If this means it's correction, it's finished, and continues its way up, I'm expecting pressure on BTC. Now let's discuss nearly 3 months of a Bitcoin price falling wedge. When it comes to the price action, popular trader and analyst Rec Capital adopted a more optimistic view. Quoting him here, Bitcoin has only retraced negative 19% since its mid-April local top. And with all the negative catalysts in FUD, one would have instinctively instinctively felt that the traces were so much deeper than that. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. And quoting Mustache, Bitcoin update. Today, the FOMC takes place and Bitcoin still looks like this in a falling wedge for 2.5 months above the exponential moving average 21, which is the bull market line. So there you have it. And breaking news just in, Bitcoin supply in the exchanges falls to a 5-year low, which is a good sign. It means more people are taking advantage of self-custody, not your keys, not your coins, as we all know. And quoting the great Max Kaiser, Bitcoin was designed to kill the central banking system. I agree with that 100%. And with that being shared, fam, welcome to everyone just tuning in, joining us on this fabulous day. Now let's break down the latest saga between the SEC and Binance. Then we'll be breaking down the latest with the SEC versus Coinbase, and then the SEC versus XRP, as it's SEC versus the world. It seems that way. Then we'll be breaking down the $1 billion Bitcoin Volcano Bonds latest update from El Salvador, followed by Michael Saylor's latest $260,000 Bitcoin price prediction, which he just shared in this recent interview. So here we go. And again, shout out to everyone just tuning in. Make sure to say hi in the live chat. Binance US and the US SEC agreed to work on an arrangement that will allow the exchange to avoid freezing all of its assets. Thank God. As we all know, freezing the assets is no good for the consumers, right? On June 14th, Bloomberg reported the U.S. District Judge, Amy Berman Jackson, referred the two organizations to a magistrate judge to work towards a compromise arrangement to protect the customer funds without having to shut down the exchange. Quoting them here, shutting it down completely would create significant consequences, not only for the company, but for the digital asset markets in general. Facts. Now, Judge Jackson noted she wouldn't come to a final decision on the SEC motion for a temporary restraining order until the two parties had worked through the situation with the magistrate. An update on the negotiations made with the magistrate have been scheduled for the end of business hours on June 15th, which is right around the corner tomorrow, right? Now, additionally, she noted the SEC and Binance US seemed not that far apart when it came to reaching an agreement on the matter. And before Judge Jackson reached her decision at the hearing, former SEC enforcement attorney John Reed Stark informed his 20,000 Twitter followers there's a lot of conflict between what each party wanted to get out of the hearing. That does not mean the judge cannot order a compromise and find common ground. The SEC filed an emergency motion for the temporary restraining order on Binance US on June 6th after accusing Binance CEO CZ of being able to access Binance US customer funds. The regulator called CZ's move of $12 billion of Binance funds through an entity he controlled called Merit Peak, and in a June 12th joint memorandum submitted ahead of the hearing on the restraining order, both Binance US and CZ denied the claims that funds were ever being mishandled. They accused the SEC of being unable to identify a single instance in which Binance US customer funds were ever misused. Quoting them here, indeed, there is no emergency here at all, other than the one manufactured by the SEC for its own purposes, quoting CZ. Now let me know how you think this is likely to play out and have an impact on the crypto market. It's good to see Bitcoin recovering, even with all the continued attacks on crypto. Do you think it will just make Bitcoin that much more stronger? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. Now for the latest with SEC versus Coinbase. Let's break this down. The US SEC has asked for 4 more months, good Lord, 120 days, to provide a response to Coinbase's request for crypto regulatory clarity. Seems like they're just stalling. In a June 13th letter submitted to the US Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit, the SEC said it needs an additional 120 days to reply to the Coinbase request that it adopt new rules and provide further clarity on the laws governing crypto. The letter was in response to the court's June 6th order to the SEC, which asked the regulator to address if it's denying the rulemaking or if it needs more time to respond. The SEC said it had not decided what action to take on that petition in whole or in part, and claimed Coinbase's request for a writ of I don't know how to pronounce that, mandamus, has no merit. The regulator claimed that the mandamus petition should be denied, but anticipated it would be able to make a recommendation on Coinbase's petition for rulemaking within the next 120 days. What changes in 120 days? It just sounds like stall tactics, if you're to ask me. In response to the letter, Coinbase chief legal officer informed his followers that the SEC repeated the fallacy that it was yet to decide on any new regulation. He added the letter ignored clear statements from the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, that the SEC had no intent to issue new rules. The SEC instead conflate the evidence of a decision. Those statements provide with an argument that the statements are themselves a decision. They refuse to commit to any deadline despite the court's explicit order. The court's order to the SEC came the same day the regulator sued Coinbase for offering unregistered securities and operating an unregistered securities exchange. So there you have it. Is any exchange safe any longer in the United States? Let me know your thoughts, and how do you feel this is likely to play out for the leading crypto exchange in the United States? And with that being shared, now let's discuss the latest with the SEC versus XRP and the Hinman documents. Then we'll dive into the billion-dollar Bitcoin volcano bonds of El Salvador, followed by Michael Saylor's latest 10x prediction for the King Crypto. Here we go. Ripple's chief legal officer has called for an investigation into the motivations that led to the former SEC official, William Hinman, delivering his now infamous speech back in 2018. How many of you have watched this speech? Let me know in the comments. Now, Stuart Altertoy, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name, I'll call him a Stewart. Demand for an investigation came as part of a June 13 Twitter thread following the public release of the Hinman docs. The docs revealed that Hinman's speech was delivered despite warnings from other SEC divisions, as he outlines here on crypto Twitter. Now, in the 2018 speech, Hinman asserted that Ethereum is not a security. I repeat, he said Ethereum is not a security as a result of it becoming sufficiently decentralized, before elaborating on what factors must be satisfied when making that determination. He also argued that according to the newly released docs, Hinman ignored the warnings of other SEC officials, suggesting his speech contained made-up analysis with no basis in law, and that the speech ended up sending confusing messages to the crypto industry regarding what constitutes a security. Stewart said that the unelected bureaucrats should only apply the law rather than trying to create new ones, and added that Hinman's speech should never again be invoked in any serious discussion about whether a token is or not a security. Now, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse joined Stewart in his criticism of the regulator in a June 13 Twitter thread, arguing the decision to go ahead with the speech despite so much pushback was unconscionable. As he mentions here, it is absolutely unconscionable that a regulator, when presented with so much pushback on what he was about to say and how he complied this fake test in the first place, decided to move forward anyway and throw the entire industry into chaos. Garlinghouse makes a good point. And speaking with Cointelegraph, pro-XRP lawyer and crypto law founder John Deaton noted he also believes an investigation is warranted, adding the fact that Hinman had referred to the speech as the Ether speech, which raised questions about the motivation of the speech. Now, Deaton and Stewart's comments on Hinman's motivations seem to reference Hinman's alleged ties to the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, an advocacy organization that seeks to drive the use of Ethereum blockchain tech. And before and after working with the SEC, Hinman worked at the law firm Simpson, Thacher and Bartlett LLC, which was a member of the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. Things continue to get more and more interesting by the day. When do you feel this XRP lawsuit versus the SEC will likely end? And do you think it will be a win for XRP in the crypto industry? Or do you think it may be deemed a security and ultimately continue to plague crypto and the exchanges? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. And with that being shared, now for the latest of what's happening out of El Salvador. And shout out to Nayib Bukele and all the fearless leaders in the Latin American country. Let's break this down. This is actually a brand new Forbes article which was meant to clarify some of the changes. El Salvador is ready to host one of the world's most significant Bitcoin mining facilities using solar energy resources and wind and others. The project will be based in the western department of Santa Ana and expected to generate renewable energy with a total capacity of 241 megawatts with 1.3 exahashes in processing power to mine BTC. This project is a part of a joint venture called Volcano Energy, which is headed up by none other than Max Kaiser, involving both the local private sector, El Salvador's government, and some key crypto industry players like Tether, USDT, to boost the Bitcoin usage across the country. And since declaring Bitcoin legal tender in 2021, approximately 2 years ago, through El Salvador's Bitcoin law, this developing nation became the first country in the world where Bitcoin is an official currency. And El Salvador is going to take the next stage of that economic policy by launching one of the world's biggest Bitcoin mining operations. Let's freaking go. This project will fulfill President Nayib Bukele's plan for volcano bonds, but with a twist. Bukele announced these so-called bonds were coming back in November of 2021, bonds which were supposed to be created through a public debt scheme with Bitcoin mining and holdings with El Salvador as the counterparty. However, here's the change. Since 2021, the market conditions and plans have thus changed. So the new strategy will tweak the investment scheme from issuing public debt to private equity funding rounds by the Volcano Energy Initiative, quoting them here. The reason behind this change is that after looking closely at the economics of our model, we realized that the potential benefits for all stakeholders were so much greater doing equity funding rather than debt, Volcano Energy's chief executive officer explained in the interview. So there you have it. Now, this also means that investors in the $1 billion initiative, which already have received $250 million in investments at this time, have to dilute their equity to share a part with the local government, which was supposed to get 23% preferred equity participation. This exchange of equity for economic freedom will enable El Salvador to reap the benefits of this project without having to spend a single penny. Now the investors will own 27% of the revenue, 50% will be reallocated to develop the energy facility in the Bitcoin mining section. The operation will be in El Salvador hamlet in Metapon due to its good conditions. Other electricity facilities are powered by renewable sources in this area, like their Park Ventus with 54 megawatt capacity. So there you have it. This is obviously a pretty big deal to help usher in, you know what I mean, a new funds into Bitcoin using geothermal energy and other renewable Bitcoin mining resources. I think this is a good look, and they're setting precedent. I mean, they are the first country to make Bitcoin a legal tender. I think many other countries are to follow. We already have a South African nation already did so as well. It just slipped my mind of the name of it. But yeah, the Bitcoin game theory is obviously in full effect. So let's go. And now for our final story of the day, let's discuss this latest price prediction from our fearless leader, the Giga Chad Michael Saylor. He was just recently interviewed with Bloomberg, and then we'll dive into our live Q&A. And yeah, everyone will have an opportunity to express their thoughts as I read everyone's comments out loud. And it's actually one of my favorite segments of the show. So yeah, massive shout out to the one and only Michael Saylor. Here we go. Enforcement actions on crypto firms by regulators in the U.S. could result in a Bitcoin-focused industry that will push its price over $250,000 per coin, according to the MicroStrategy co-founder, Michael Saylor. In a new Bloomberg interview on June 13th, the Bitcoin bull explained the recent enforcement actions from the SEC would eventually play in the favor of Bitcoin. The only crypto excluded from being a security by the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler. That's right. Saylor added that U.S. regulators don't see a legitimate path forward for cryptos, adding they don't have any love for stablecoins, crypto tokens, or crypto-based derivatives. Saylor said crypto exchanges would be the catalyst behind the significant price surge. Quoting Saylor here, the SEC's view is crypto exchanges should trade and hold pure digital commodities like Bitcoin, so the entire industry is kind of destined to be rationalized down to a Bitcoin-focused industry with maybe a half a dozen to a dozen other proof-of-work tokens. The next logical step is for Bitcoin to 10x from here and then 10x again. And let's stop right there. Run the math. 10x times 10x is 100x. So can you say $2.6 million Bitcoin? Send it and let's freaking go. And quoting him here on crypto Twitter, regulatory clarity is going to drive Bitcoin adoption by eliminating the confusion and anxiety that has been holding back institutional investors. Bitcoin dominance will continue to grow as the crypto industry rationalizes around Bitcoin and then goes mainstream. Bring it. Saylor notes Bitcoin's market share increased from 40 to 48% in 2023, which may be attributed in part of the SEC's enforcement activity and the agency labeling 68 cryptocurrencies as securities, none of which are proof of work. In the future, Saylor believes this dominance will increase to 80% as mega institutional money will flow into crypto after confusion and anxiety over crypto disappears. Saylor and other Bitcoin-centric advocates have met with considerable criticism. We have Anthony Sassano, host of the Daily Gwei, recently called out Bitcoiners who are pleased to see the SEC file lawsuits against Coinbase and other exchanges that list tokens that the agency considers to be unregistered securities. Quoting him here, incredibly embarrassing to see how many Bitcoiners who self-identify as cypherpunks are absolutely salivating at the fact that the SEC is going after Coinbase. No company in the industry has done more for Bitcoin adoption than Coinbase, and the team behind Ethereum-based wallet MetaMask and others also believe that a multi-chain future is inevitable because different blockchains serve different purposes. And we have Mike McGlone, senior macro strategist of Bloomberg, explained in early May that a deflationary bust is impacting the commodities market and bank deposits, and that crypto may be the next domino to fall. Quoting him here, cryptos could be the next assets to drop in deflation dominoes. It's been a year of rebounds for just about everything that fell in 2022, with cryptos top among high beta performers, but a deflationary bust may be gaining fuel as seen in plunging commodities and bank deposits. And then quoting Lynn Alden, at that point, both the Treasury and the Fed will be sucking liquidity out of the system, and that would create a vulnerable time for risk assets in general, including BTC. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Michael Saylor's 10x price prediction off of the back of regulatory clarity here in the United States. And now let's break down some live Q&A. Welcome to each and every one of you joining us here in the live stream. Make sure to say hello if you haven't already done so, and make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to turn on all notifications so you don't miss out when we go live. You're also going to notice a QR lightning code on the screen. Yesterday we received 10 donations via Zaps sending me sats, so I want to give some shout outs first and foremost. Someone sent me 100 sats and said, I watch every day for the last 8 months. Great work. Thank you, fam. Greatly appreciate that. And then someone sent me 70,000 sats and said, weird, the Phoenix wallet will not let me send you a dollar amount, only a number of sats. Anyways, thanks for the work you do, Lazy Turtle. Shout out to Lazy Turtle. And then there was an additional 8 more contributions, many of which didn't have names or notes, so I don't know who they came from, but I do want to let you know I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Now let's get to the chat. Nathan Roth, Statwise Jenks, What's Poppin', Crypto Fam, Dad Michael Volkman, Chris Minka, 2 for 1, Corey Loomis, was good, Sailing with Twins, Tony Jeffries, LFC Liverpool Film Club, shout out to the UK, Savage NFT, was good Savage, good to see you, Bitcoin Maximus, good to see you as well. Bring Facts, always a pleasure, fam, love seeing you here. He says if we get a license, we can have 250 plants in flower and legally sell to micro dispensaries. Well, do what you got to do. Another beautiful day out there. How's everyone doing? I put the great news. It's a beautiful day here in Puerto Rico. As usual, digital dankness was popping. No Claire Bear should get removed and added to the audit docket. I agree. Audit No Claire Gare Bear and the SEC. I would love for that to happen. Do you think that Gary is likely to get fired? As I shared yesterday's episode, congressmen are already saying this is unlawful actions by the SEC and that we need to fire Gary Gensler. Do you think this could be a possibility? In my humble opinion, I think if Gary did get fired, which is a probability, they would just replace him with another corrupt suit, kind of like if they got rid of a president, they would just usher in a new president. So I'm not so optimistic that you're going to get any chairman who is going to be in favor of the crypto industry, because the attack seems to be very clear, but at least the congressmen seem to be sticking up for us as a whole, but we shall see how this plays out. How many of you watched the Michael Saylor interview I referenced today with his 10x prediction and then saying then we'll 10x again, and that the next he's saying basically there's no second best, there's Bitcoin and there's Bitcoin. Classic Saylor. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts surrounding his 260,000 price prediction, and when do you feel that is likely to come into fruition? And do you think regulatory clarity in the U.S. will have that impact on the Bitcoin price? Michael Volkman, it is good to see you, fam, as always. Much love and much respect. Kenny Ogden, welcome. Good to see you here as always. How many of you are pretty hyped up for the Bitcoin halving scheduled about 10 months away, coming up in 2024? Let me know. I thought Bitcoin is the one and only king crypto, but if it's the next Bitcoin, yeah, be on the lookout for Bitcoin. Super smash Nintendo. Appreciate the smash likes. It means the world to me and helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. And yes, this is pod episode number 1312. Could you believe that? Let's get it. Yeah, smash that like. Much appreciated. Sound and video is good. That's because I've been doing a little mic check before I get started. Glad to hear it sounds good. I wonder who he paid off to get that insider info. Not mad that he shared it. It is facts, but that's an awesome perspective. Not sure exactly which you're referring to. Are you referring to Saylor? Let me know. Good morning, Maximus. Stack some more stats this morning. Always Volkman, BTFD. Take advantage of these dips. Tony Jeffries in the building. Shout out to the LFC Liverpool Film Club. Good to see you, fam. Savage NFTs. Always glad to be here. Appreciate you being here. Much love and respect. Corey Loomis. Good to see you. Break up with the pause. Let's go. Stacking stats. Keep stacking. FOMC comments could push us to 27,000 today, but could be testing lower highs in the near term if we don't break out of the wedge to the positive, says Statwise Jenks. Appreciate your perspective as always. Much love and much respect. After the SEC went after Coinbase and Binance back to back, I called the local bottom of this correction. Will I be right? We shall see, says Chris Minka. Please remind us, what is the bottom? Let me know. And yes, no hat today because I got the fresh fade, so no Bitcoin hat today. Shared on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Let's go. Well, I appreciate that. Much love and respect. Appreciate all the likes and retweets as always. When Gary G gets let go, crypto will pump to a new year high in celebration. I'm with you on that, Corey Loomis. I think everyone's anticipating that and would love to see that in crypto. Gensler is going nowhere. Hinman emails are like the Dorham report. Nothing will happen to anyone. Yeah. Chris, double negative. Are you saying he is staying or going? 2 for 1 says he's a clown. We all know Gary is a clown for show. Gary Gensler is a clown playing hopscotch in front of the global stream roller. Great point there, 2 for 1. Appreciate you tuning in live here. Big up JV for the live. You're very welcome, Dad. Appreciate you tuning in. When I say dad, it's not my dad. My dad passed years ago. May his soul rest in peace. This is a user with the username Dad, just FYI. Peter Davies at an FOMC pause is a win for XRP and Gary G. Out on his ear. I can dream. Well, keep on dreaming, Peter Davies, and I appreciate your support. In a world of digital assets, Gensler is a depreciating liability. 100% with you on that. Hinman prefaced the speech by saying his comments were personal and not the opinion of the SEC or the government. Judge will be like, just one man's opinion, who is probably on the take by Vitalik. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. That is correct, Nathan Roth. This is episode 1312. Pump it to 26,000, my dudes. Let's pump it, selling with twins. And massive shout out to everyone in South Africa. Much love and much respect. Gregio says July of 2034. What's coming in July of 2034? And don't tell me $260,000 Bitcoin price, because you know we're all anticipating that 10 years sooner. But please clarify. Wonder how Saylor got the info. I hope it's from a respectable source. If it's just his perspective, I love his bullish opinion. I think to him, his logic is it just makes sense that clarity is good for Bitcoin. Maybe not necessarily for crypto, but ultimately saying what the SEC is doing right now is going to only help Bitcoin thrive because we need clarity. And right now, there is zero clarity. It's just all speculation coming from the SEC. You know what I mean? So yeah, we shall soon see. And what are your predictions specifically for the Bitcoin halving next year, 10 months out? Do you think we're likely to reach a 6-figure Bitcoin price? Do you think it won't go according to plan and maybe things will go slower this cycle? Let me know your honest thoughts. I'd love to read your comments out loud. Sophisticated fly fishing, what's good? Good to see you, fam. Something to think about, says Corey. Medium of exchange needs an equilibrium of supply and demand. Fiat demand can't keep up with the supply, but Bitcoin supply can't keep up with the demand. Dub Proof, welcome. Big ups to you as well. Greatly appreciate you tuning in here to the live show. Clarity is not good for Gary. Obviously not. And for his You know what I mean? He's a puppet for his controllers, the people who put him there. He represents the central banking cartel at the end of the day. And as Max shared in the quote I shared in the intro of the show, Bitcoin was designed to be a central bank killer. They can't go after Bitcoin. If they could, trust me, they would. But it has the green light. It's decentralized. There's no one to attack. They cannot stop it. So therefore, what's the next best thing? They can go after the crypto exchanges and deem them all unlawful casinos selling unregistered securities. And precisely what they're doing, this is their playbook right now. This is a war on cryptocurrency, but it's not about who strikes first. It's about who wins the war. We shall soon see. You know what I mean? 6 figures for sure, says Digital Dankness. I think that is a given. Do you think we can hit multiple 6 figures? Potentially 200,000-300,000 for this cycle peak? I think we're most likely to witness the cycle peak probably in 2025. If history is to rhyme, it doesn't necessarily always repeat, but you know, we had a halving in 2012, all-time high 2013. We had a halving in 2016, all-time high 2017. We hit almost 20 grand. You know what I mean? We had a halving in 2020. The following year, 2021, the current all-time high, $69,000. And if only we 2x from the previous all-time high for the next cycle peak, more than likely in 2025, that's still $138,000 per coin. Are you ready? I sure hope so. You know what I mean? I want to add my Bitcoin bag today, says Ryan. Please do so. Keep stacking them sats. I think 26,000 is a great dollar cost average price point, in my opinion, especially if you're hodling for the long term. I tell people to have a long term perspective, minimal 5 years, because if you have that, you know the price is going to go up. Statistically, it's been proven since the inception of Bitcoin, every cycle, you know what I mean? And I think it's not going to slow down anytime soon. I also, if you run the math, I don't know the exact number, but Bitcoin's roughly at like a 60, potentially 70% discount off that all-time high of 69,000 at today's price of 26,000, which to me makes more sense as Bitcoin has more upside potential than downside potential, especially if you believe in the technology. How many of you are believers and aren't going nowhere and you're long-term hodlers here to stay? Let me know. Make some noise in the live chat. Nathan confirms 2025. Yes, sir. Full send, let's go. My conservative prediction is $150,000, says Digital Dankness. We shall soon see. I mean, I love that. I think my conservative prediction would be around the 6-figure mark. Let's just roughly say 100,000, but my optimistic prediction is 300,000, and in between on average is roughly 200,000. And in a more recent episode, I also shared ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood's latest update, and she ultimately said that ARK Invest's base case for the King Crypto is 600,000. You know what I mean? So that's their conservative prediction. Her bullish prediction is 1.48 million per Bitcoin. And in the middle, that's roughly $1 million per coin by the year 2030. Also recently shared a Max Kaiser prediction of $1 million per coin, which is right in alignment with Cathie Wood of ARK Invest by the year 2030. He also says, volcano bonds are going to help usher this in, coming out of El Salvador. So we'll see how this all plays out. I'd rather be conservative with all of this FUD in the air. I could completely relate to you there, Dankness. Satwise says, I like CoinFather thinking of dollar cost average of 40,000, or pick a number that you believe Bitcoin will never fall below in the next bear market. Thanks for the insight, says Ryan. Big investor lose hope, says Malaysia. Rich man, shout out to Malaysia and all my people out in Asian countries out there on that side of the world. Tony says, JV, if you had $1,000 today, what would you use it all today to buy? Bitcoin or $100 a month for the next 10 months? $1,000 doesn't excite me, I'll be honest with you. But if I had the opportunity to choose $1,000 cash or Bitcoin, you already know, fam. I'm going to choose the sats any day of the week. It's not even a question. I don't even believe in fiat. I don't keep money in the bank, just enough ultimately to pay my bills. You know what I mean? Because your purchasing power of the dollar is guaranteed to decline as the purchasing power of Bitcoin is guaranteed to go up. So I like saving. I'm a saver. You know what I mean? I don't like spending. I like saving. So I would absolutely save Bitcoin knowing it's going to go up in value, the purchasing power. I would not be saving fiat. I would be converting my fiat into Bitcoin, knowing that fiat, as Michael Saylor once described, is a melting ice cube. What fun is a melting ice cube? That means your wealth is slowly but surely disappearing because you're losing purchasing power. You know what I mean? The poor people unfortunately have to pay the tax we call inflation, because inflation is very real and things are just starting to heat up as far as inflation is concerned. In my personal opinion, in the United States, I think things are likely to get worse and worse, and maybe we'll have the collapse of the dollar sooner than later, and maybe Bitcoin one day can become the world reserve currency of the world, pushing the price, who knows, $10 million above and beyond. What are your thoughts? Let me know. The spaces are why Bitcoin is super volatile. This space, yeah. What's going on, Bitcoin Trini? Good to see you. Yeah, man. Michael, good morning. DC, what's good? Appreciate your support, family, as always. No, I mean DCA over 10 months or just buy it all today? Oh, great question. I think, I'm not in the camp that Bitcoin is going to correct to a lower low. Like, I think the low we hit in the fourth quarter of last year was roughly 15,700. So knowing that, I'd probably just buy in one shot. Just knowing me, or maybe cut it up 2 or 3 buys. I don't know about, 10 buys over the next 10 months, because I think the price is more likely to go up with the halving around the corner of 2024. So maybe I would spend $500 today at 26 grand. And then if the price drops even lower, sub 25, I'd probably purchase the rest up and just hodl for the long term. That's what I would do, not investment advice. Obviously, do what's in the best interest for you and for your personal needs and all these other factors that come into play. I agree with you too. 40,000 is likely too low. 60 to 80,000 bottom more likely. Megadon, welcome family. Appreciate you tuning in. Take profits at 90,000 with powder for 150,000 if we hit, then buy back in the next bear cycle. Word up, 9 months before and 9 months after the halving is where it's at. You already know, and we're almost in that window. We're on the cusp right now. Exciting times, family. Thanks, JV. Much appreciated. Coming from Tony. You're very welcome, fam. And now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. I broke down the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin remains flat at $26,000. Also shared breaking news. The Bitcoin supply on the exchanges falls to a 5-year low, which means more crypto going to self-custody, which is a good thing. We also discussed the latest saga with the SEC and Binance US. They negotiated a deal avoiding a total asset freeze, which is definitely good for investors using the Binance platform. We also discussed the SEC asked for more time, 120 days, to respond to Coinbase's call for crypto clarity. Just seems they're continuing to delay. We also discussed the latest with Ripple XRP calling for a probe into Bill Hinman and his infamous speech. We also discussed the latest coming out of El Salvador with renewable Bitcoin mining project to tweak El Salvador's bond proposal to raise $1 billion. And we also broke down the latest Michael Saylor price prediction, where he says the public is beginning to realize that Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. The next logical step is for Bitcoin to 10x from here and then 10x again. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let